بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We continue our discussion about ideas, thoughts, and intentions that may be in our heart, in our mind, and sometimes may not have led to actions. This started from page 73, and we have already had 2 sessions on this, and then we reached last paragraph of page 76. As you remember, the idea of the author of the book Mahajjatul Bayda and Ihya Ulumuddin, both Mullah Muhsin Faith and Ghazali, is that we have to distinguish between just occurrence of something or making decision, intending to do something. If you intend to do something and you don't do it, still this is an action of heart, and it can be good action or bad action. You cannot say, I didn't do anything by my hand or leg or eye or ear. No, still it's an action. He says, وَالدَّلِيلُ عَلَى هَذَا التَّفْصِيلِ مَا وَرَدَ فِي الصَّحِيحِ مُتَّصِلًا فِي لَفْظِ الْحَدِيثِ. He says we have an authentic hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, قالت الملائكة رب ذاك عبدك يريد أن يعمل سيئة وهو أبصره. Rasulullah said, sometimes the angels say to Allah, our Lord, that is your servant who wants to do something bad. يريد أن يعمل سيئة. He wants to do something bad. But he is now seeing. So he understands that this is bad. فقال ارقبوه فإن عملها فاكتبوها عليه بمثلها. Watch him, monitor him, مراقبة. Watch him. If he does it, فاكتبوها عليه. Write down this bad action for him, but بمثلها. Only 1 for 1, not in a multiplied way. وَإِن تَرَكَهَا. But if he leaves that bad action, he doesn't do it, but as he will explain, according to him, تَرَكَهَا is more than لَمْ يَعْمَلْهَا. Tarakaha means he makes some efforts for not doing. You know, like you are, for example, riding a horse, and then the horse wants to go to one direction. With difficulty, you push the horse to another direction. This is difficult. Your nafs is like a horse sometimes. So your nafs wants to go to one direction, you stop your nafs. أما من خاف مقام ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى. Yeah, stops his nafs going after her whims. إن تركها فاكتبوها له حسنة. If he doesn't do that bad action in this way, which we explained, not only no bad action is registered, a good action is registered. إنما تركها من أجلي. He has left it because of me. And so he says, even if you have a similar hadith that instead of tarakaha is lam ya'malha, it means tarakaha. But أما إذا عزم على فاحشة وتعذرت عليه بسبب أو بغفلة فكيف يكتب له حسنة. Says, but this was when he made efforts not to do that action for the sake of Allah. But suppose he decided to do something bad, but it didn't happen because a problem happened, or he forgot. He got busy with something else. A guest came, for example. So then why there should be a hasanah registered for him? وَقَدْ قَالَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ إِنَّمَا يُحْشَرُ النَّاسَ عَلَى نِيَّاتِهِمْ. People will be resurrected according to their intentions. This has a very deep meaning. Although actions are very important, but you can really understand who is good, who is bad by looking at the intentions of people. When it comes to mu'min, his intention is better than his actions. Niyyatul mu'mine khayrun min amalih. When it comes to bad people, their intentions are worse than their actions, because if they were free, they would have done much more worse things. Yeah? So, if we were able to understand the niyyah of people, we could understand how good they are. إِنَّمَا يُحْشَرُ النَّاسَ عَلَى نِيَّاتِهِمْ. We have also hadith, we mentioned this in Akhlaq in the first semester. النِّيَّةُ أَسَاسُ الْعَمَلِ. Niyyah is the basis and the foundation of action. أَسَاسُ الْعَمَلِ. وَنَحْنُ نَعْلَمُ أَنَّ مَنْ عَزَمَ لَيْلًا عَلَىٰ أَنْ يُصْبِحَ وَيَقْتُلَ مُسْلِمًا. Imagine someone in the night makes the niyyah and intention of killing someone in the morning, or yazni bimra'atin, or making fornication. But in the night, he dies. فَمَاتَ تِلْكَ اللَّيْلَةِ. So he said, tomorrow I'm going to kill this person, or I'm going to make this sin. But in the night, he died. مَاتَ مُسِرًّا وَيُحْشَرُ عَلَى نِيَّتِهِ وَقَدْ هَمَّ بِسَيِّئَةٍ وَلَمْ يَعْمَلْهَا. He would be resurrected according to this bad intention, even if he has not actually done it. Of course, we made lots of discussion. I don't want to repeat what we said from maybe our perspective. But it's a very important point, but how comprehensive is this another issue. Then he mentions another hadith. It says, الدليل القاطع فيه ما روي عن النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. This hadith is very important because it shows the role of intention. According to this hadith, which is in Sunan ibn Majah, but the narrator is Jabir. إِذَا الْتَقَى الْمُسْلِمَانِ بِسَيْفِهِمَا. When two Muslims meet with sword, means they go to battle to kill each other. Okay. Maybe one of them is killed. But Prophet, according to this hadith, said, فَالْقَاتِلُ وَالْمَقْتُولُ فِي النَّارِ. Both the killer and the one who is killed are in fire. قِيلَ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ هَذَا الْقَاتِلُ فَمَا بَالُ الْمَقْتُولُ. He said, we understand that the killer should go to hell. Why the one who is killed should go? Rasulullah said, لَأَنَّهُ أَرَادَ قَتْلَ صَاحِبِهِ. Because he also wanted to kill the other one. He didn't kill him, but not because he was careful, he was respectful to the blood of that person, to the life of that person. He wanted to kill him, but that person was faster, perhaps. So this shows that when people make decision to do something, and they actually, as I said to you last week, I don't know if you remember, I said, if niyyah is followed by some actions, for example, niyyah of watching a bad movie in cinema with purchase of the ticket, and then he cannot go. I thought maybe we can say this is something that is questioned. But if it is just niyyah and nothing has been done, then maybe we said as long as niyyah is okay. So this hadith shows that how important is to have good niyyah or bad niyyah. Then he says, كل ما دخل تحت اختيار العبد فهو مأخوذ به. Anything that falls under your freedom, you have control over it, you will be asked about it, you will be questioned about it. إلا أن يكفره بحسنة, unless you can compensate that by doing something good. وَنَقْضُ الْعَزْمِ بِالنَّدَمِ حَسَنَةً. He says, one of the hasanat that can cover and compensate is to regret. So if you make niyyah of doing a sin and then you regret, that sin is now forgiven. But it was a sin according to him. It's a sin that you make niyyah of doing a sin.
So this wasn't the continuation of the hadith. The hadith is finished.
No, the hadith is finished. أما فوات المراد بعائق. But if you don't regret, just what you wanted because of an obstacle didn't happen, فليس بحسنة. This is not a hasana that can cover and compensate that sin. أما الخواطر, but occurrences. You remember we said there are 4 stages. The first was khatir, occurs. The second was you get shawq and kind of desire. Hayajan or raqbah. These 2 are not under your control. So for these you are not going to be questioned. You are not going to be punished. وَالْمُؤَاخَذَةُ بِهِ تَكْلِيفٌ لِمَا لَا يُطَاقُ. If Allah wants to question us, why this occurred to your mind? This would be questioning about something which we don't have power to stop it. Okay? He mentions a story. He said, when this ayah, إِن تُبْدُوا مَا فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَوْ تُخْفُوهُ يُحَاسِبْكُمْ بِهِ اللَّهُ, whether you hide or disclose what is in yourself, Allah is going to question you about it. Some companions of the Prophet went to him and said, Ya Rasulullah, this is too much. This is what we cannot cope with. كلفنا ما لا نطيق. How can we be questioned about things that come to our mind? Because they thought إن تبدوا ما في أنفسكم أو تخفوه even includes occurrences, ideas and thoughts. Then he says this ayah was revealed لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah would not make any expectation or obligation without considering how much people can cope with. Mullah Muhsin Faid Rahmatullah alayhi says أقول. Now it's the time for him bringing Shia hadith. ومن طريق الخاصة ما رواه في الاحتجاج عن أمير المؤمنين. Tabarsi in احتجاج quotes from أمير المؤمنين أن هذه الآية عرضت على الأنبياء والأمم السابقة. This ayah in تبدوا ما في أنفسكم أو تخفوا يحاسبكم به الله, according to this hadith, was presented to the previous nations and previous prophets, and they didn't accept. They said it's too much for us. فأبوا أن يقبلوها من ثقلها. They said too heavy, too difficult. وقبلها رسول الله وعرضها على أمته فقبلوها. So similar to what we have in Sunni sources, we have in Shia sources that Rasulullah accepted, Muslim Ummah accepted, but then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when saw that they have accepted, although it is something that they may not be able to do it, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَحَقٌّ عَلَيَّ أَنْ أَرْفَعَهَا عَنْ أُمَّتِكَ. I remove it, and then this ayah came, لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا. So, if a bad idea comes to your mind, if doing a sin comes to your mind, you are not going to be questioned because this is what you don't have control over it. But after that, as we said last week, don't think about it, don't keep thinking about it and developing it and then develop desire and eagerness for doing it. It comes, you have no control, but it's up to you to keep it. Yes.
As in Hadith Raf, Hasad, which is within a human being, they will not be asked. How this Hasad is different than the Niyyah, for example, two Muslims will fight each other and they want to kill each other, but then the Maqtul is going to go to hell as well because of his intention. Now this intention, how this intention is different than Hasad?
Hasad, as long as someone does not do something out of hasad, out of jealousy, is not registered as a sin, but still is a vicious quality. This doesn't mean it has no impact on our sa'adah. Because as we said in the first semester in Akhlaq, both actions and qualities are important. So you cannot say, I have, for example, arrogance, but I control my actions. No, even arrogance in heart is a problem. You cannot say, I have greediness, I have despair, I have yas, but I don't do anything bad. I control my action. You say, okay, if you control your action, you have not committed a sin, but you have a vicious quality, and that's causing problem. Yes. Yes.
It says over here, فَحَقَّ عَلَيَّ أَنْ أَرْفَعَهَا. So does that mean this ayat is mansukh?
It means that this part of it, when it comes to the ideas, is not, exercised. But not everything which is hidden is not exercised. Okay? But this part, something which occurs, something which is an idea that quickly comes to your mind, that is not what this ayah is talking about. So if we want to literally take this hadith, we should say that ayah is modified. We say takhsis, means part of it is excluded. Yes.
So could it be said that we can divide these two thoughts into two sections? One section is that it's what the shayateen, when it comes from the shayateen, and the second is from the weakness of the individual himself. As in, for example, a pious individual that has worked on his nafs for years will gradually have at least the one from his nafs reduce or gone, and eventually, if it's a pure nafs, even the shaitan will give up on him to an extent. Is that correct?
Inshallah, we talk about this next issue, that is it possible to totally stop these temptations? And we will divide them into three categories. We say some of them can be stopped, but one of them is not stopping. It still can come. So, قال أبو حامد al-Ghazali, yes.
How the envoy become a sin? And
How
envoy it is becoming a sin? I don't know.
Jealousy?
Yeah, jealousy or envoy, how it become a sin? And it is, as I understand that scientifically the envoy it is coming as from the eyes to the things that is like electrical things coming, and
No. Hasad is not electrical.
as I read it, that's something I read.
Yeah, hasad is, of course, unfortunately, a common problem.
Yeah.
Many people, more or less, may have it. And it is caused by few things. One is not to be fully satisfied and pleased with Allah's decision.
Yeah.
Secondly, not being trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thirdly, by not having a large heart so that you can see other people are successful. You have very limited, sight, and you think if other people are happy, you have to suffer. If other people are successful, you have to fail. So, as a quality, it's not sin, but it's a vicious quality. It's a radila. Even if you don't do anything out of hasad, if you don't do ghaiba, if you don't do tuhma, if you don't hurt that person, but still it's a vicious quality. And we have to work on it. But maybe it's very difficult to remove it 100%, but at least you can make it very little. Very, very little. But it can also maybe stop in some people. We have hadith that mu'min may envy but would not be jealous. Al-mu'minu yaghbitu wa la yahsad, something like this. Means, ghibta is different. Ghibta is, I see you have good qualities. I say, I wish I also had those good qualities. Yes. It's a ghibta. But
we also envy the people in Karbala.
Yes, that's good. So someone has good qualities. I wish I also had good qualities. Hasad is someone has good qualities. I wish he didn't have it, no matter whether I have it or not. This is hasad. The main thing is that he shouldn't have it. Even sometimes people harm themselves so that the other person may lose that quality. So this is the problem. Okay.
With regards to what he said earlier, what you said earlier.
Yeah.
Then Qatil and Maqtul. The Maqtul has nothing to do with the Qatil, but he has no intention of killing him. But the Qatil has become jealous and he wants to kill him, then it's not the fault of Maqtul. Then why should
No,
he should
because both of them are meeting with sword.
Well, he has to defend it if somebody
No, if he's defending, that's another issue. But the hadith was that they go with, they have a duel, so that they want to kill each other. Say, okay, let's start. So, he was not going to defend himself. He was going to kill that person. So Ghazali says, فَظَهَرَ بِهِ أَنَّ كُلَّ مَا لَا يَدْخُلُ تَحْتَ الْوُسْعِ مِنْ أَعْمَالِ الْقَلْبِ هُوَ الَّذِي لَا يُؤَاخَذُ بِهِ. Anything which is not under your control, any action of the heart which is not under your control, you don't have power over it, this is not going to be questioned. فَهَذَا هُوَ كَشْفُ الْغِطَاءِ عَنْ هَذَا الْإِلْتِبَاسِ. So this is removing veil from this confusion. So as you remember, we said people are taking one side or the other because there is a confusion. Some people take those hadiths or verses that say, as long as something is not done, it's okay. Some take those things which says, even internal things will be questioned. And we made a distinction. كل من يظن أن كل ما يجري على القلب يسمى حديث النفس ومن لم يفرق بين هذه الأقسام الثلاثة فلا بد وأن يغلب. Anyone who thinks everything that we said there are 4 levels. If they only think about 3 levels and they don't make distinction between the last one and the other 3, that's a mistake. The last one is when azm and niyyah. We said this is something that you have control over it. كيف لا يؤاخذ بأعمال القلوب. How can someone says action of the heart, which is niyyah, is not going to be questioned? والكبر والعجب والرياء والنفاق والحسد وَجُمْلَةُ الْخَبَائِثِ مِنْ أَعْمَالِ الْقَلْبِ. All these vicious qualities, these are related to the heart. بَلِ السَّمْعُ وَالْبَصَرُ وَالْفُؤَادِ. You remember one of the ayat was إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَالْبَصَرَ وَالْفُؤَادِ كُلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. Why you are asked about heart? Of course, part of it is iman, kufr, nifaq, but he wants to say part of it is also vicious qualities of the heart and also action of the heart, which is the niyyah. Then he mentions example of, for example, he says لو وقع البصر بغير اختياره على غير محرم. If without your own decision your eye sees a non-mahram, someone who is not mahram to you, a person who has no good hijab, and you see that person without hijab who is not mahram. This is not sin because you had no control. It just came to your sight, your vision. But the second time, if you look at it, then you cannot say I had no control. Okay? So the first time you didn't know, for example, you are walking and then you saw someone. But then you cannot keep looking and say this is still the first. Or come and say, every time is a new sight. The first one is only something that you don't have control. Okay?
What's the ruling for these non-Muslim ladies? They are without hijab. Sometimes you have to talk to them for a long time. Especially
it should be without bad intention.
Okay.
if it is without bad intention and also it's the normal private parts are covered, for example, their hair, it's okay. But if it is with rayba, if it is, with bad intention, no. Even with bad intention, someone with hijab you cannot look at. Even with bad intention, you cannot look at the shoe of a woman. If the rayba is there, so it's the problem. I just remember when I was in second or third year of my study, that's in 80s. So one of our teachers used to say, when you, for example, by accident see someone who has no hijab, and nowadays, there is movie or on internet, says, don't say, I want to see how vicious these people are. Sometimes, we deceive ourselves. Say, my intention is to see, how bad someone can become. So this is no excuse. The first, maybe you are excused, but not anything after that. So, لو وقع البصر بغير اختياره على غير محرم لم يؤاخذ بها. Okay, لو وقع البصر بغير اختياره. His eyes unintentionally sees someone who is not mahram, لم يؤاخذ بها. But فإن أتبعها نظرة ثانية. But if has a second glance, كان مؤاخذا بها لأنه مختار. وكذا خواطر القلب. He says the same thing about occurrences of the heart. And then he talks about significance of heart. He says Rasulullah pointed at the heart and said at-taqwa ha-huna. Or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran said لَن يَنَالَ اللَّهَ لُحُومُهَا وَلَا دِمَاؤُهَا. When you make udhiyah, sacrifice, you go for Hajj, for example, you offer qurbani, sacrifice. The flesh or blood would not reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَكِنْ يَنَالُهُ التَّقْوَى مِنْكُمْ. Your taqwa would reach him. And taqwa is in the heart. So, this is the remaining of our last discussion. Then we have another discussion, another chapter. بيان أن الوسواس هل يتصور أن ينقطع بالكلية عند الذكر أم لا. These temptations and bad thoughts can ultimately stop, totally stop with remembrance of Allah or not. So can we reach a point that these never come to our mind? So he says ulama who are experts in this field don't have agreement. There is no consensus. And he says they have 5 different opinions. Look at also the depths of these discussions. So much they have worked on these issues that they have 5 opinions. To save time, I only mention the last one, which is the as-sahih, the correct opinion. He says all of them are okay, but they were not comprehensive. So what they said was correct about one type of temptations. Okay? الصحيح عندنا في هذا أن كل هذه المذاهب صحيحة ولكن كلها قاصرة عن الإحاطة بأصناف الوساوس. They are all correct, but they were not comprehensive. They were not able to include all types of temptations. So they looked at one type and they said something. The other one was looking another type and was saying something else. So, if you want to be comprehensive, al-waswasu thalathatu asnaf. There are 3 types of temptations. الأول أن يكون من جهة التلبيس للحق فإن الشيطان قد يلبس الحق. The first type of waswasa and bad thoughts, temptations, is by making you mistaken about the truth, about haq. Talbis. Talbis literally means to cover, but means something like confusing and making you mistaken. So shaitan sometimes make haq for you unclear. For example, يقول للإنسان, shaitan comes to you, لا تترك التنعم واللذات. Don't, make life difficult for you. Don't stop enjoying and having pleasure. Why you are making life difficult for you? Why you are, studying? Why you are, doing mubahasa? Why you are doing ibadah? Why you are helping people? Why you are doing charity work? إن العمر طويل. You have, mashallah, long life. Still you are young. Don't make life, difficult for yourself. والصبر عن الشهوات طول العمر ألمه عظيم. You have long life, and if you want to be always avoiding these things, pleasures, it will be very painful. So now enjoy, then later do some good work. This is what shaitan can say.
Later do tawbah.
Pardon?
Later do tawbah.
Yes. فَإِنْ هَذَا, this type of waswasa, if happens to you, إِذَا ذَكَرَ الْعَبْدِ عَظِيمَ حَقِّ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى, if you can remember what great rights Allah has over you, how much you owe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَعَظِيمَ ثَوَابِهِ وَإِقَابِهِ, and consider the greatness of His reward and greatness of His punishment, and say, الصبر عن الشهوات شديد. Yes, it's difficult not to go after your desires. ولكن الصبر على النار أشد منه. But to cope with the fire is more difficult than not going after your desires. And you have to choose. You cannot say, no, I will enjoy myself in dunya all the time and I will not also suffer in akhirah. No. فَإِذَا ذَكَرَ الْعَبْدُ وَعْدَ اللَّهِ وَوَعِيدَهُ, if you keep remembering Allah's promise and threat, وَجَدَّدَ إِيمَانَهُ وَيَقِينَهُ, and renew your iman and your certainty, خَنَسَ الشَّيْطَانِ وَحَرَبَ, shaitan will run away. Shaitan says, I shouldn't waste my time on this person. He is very alert, very careful, grateful to his Lord. He is mindful of akhirah. He has taken his life seriously. Why I should spend my time here? I can be more productive in other places. إذ لا يستطيع أن يقول ليس النار أشد من الصبر على المعصية. Because shaitan cannot tell him, no, fire is easier. Shaitan cannot deceive this person. ولا يمكن أن يقول المعصية لا تقضي إلى النار. Cannot say, sinning would not lead to hell. Because he's mu'min. فإن إيمانه بكتاب الله يدفعه عن ذلك. Because he is faithful. He believes in Quran. He believes in akhirah. Believes in hell. In punishment. This type can stop. فَيَنْقَطِعُ وَسْوَاسُهُ. This type of things can stop, and shaitan would never try to deceive you if you are such a faithful and understanding person. Okay? So shaitan would not try this type of temptation. Another type of temptation. So you remember the first type? The first type was to tell you that you have long life. You cannot, stop enjoying yourself. It's very difficult, makes you, suffer. You would say, no. I want to be protecting myself from fire, from punishment, which is more difficult. To be patient with respect to sins and avoid sins is easier than coping with punishment. Okay? So that's the first type. The second type of temptations. Sometimes shaitan comes to you through ujb. Ujb, self-admiration. كذلك يوسوس إليه بالعجب في علمه وعمله. He says, MashaAllah, you are in Hose, you are in the third level, second semester of the first year. You have been 10 weeks in the Hose, MashaAllah, you have such knowledge. I see you carry, heavy books. You see ulama every day, MashaAllah. We don't have anyone like you in London. So, it makes you feel you are, great, alim. Or, you do some good actions. Few days you do Salatul Layl, shaitan says, oh, MashaAllah. I don't think, many people do Salatul Layl in London. You are one of the exceptional people who do Salatul Layl in London, Or, MashaAllah, you have been to Arba'in, walking all the way there, walking. MashaAllah. So, doesn't let you to do something good and keep it, wants to damage it. يقول له أي عبد يعرف الله كما تعرفه. Which servant of God is worshipping him like you? وَيَعْبُدُهُ كَمَا تَعْبُدُهُ. Knowing him like you and worshipping him like you. فَمَا أَعْظَمَ مَكَانَكَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. What a great position you have with Allah. If you ask Allah something, He's going to definitely listen. Sometimes good people have to suffer so that they don't have ujb. Yeah? Because otherwise they may think, okay, we can get everything. فَيَذْكُرُ الْعَبْدِ. Now zikr comes and this person remembers أَنَّ مَعْرِفَتَهُ. If he has any ma'rifah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَقُدْرَتَهُ وَقَلْبَهُ وَأَعْضَاءَهُ الَّتِي بِهَا عَلِمَهُ وَعَمِلَهُ. Everything that he knew, everything that he has done with this power and heart and body, كُلُّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ خَلْقِ اللَّهِ. Everything is creation of God. Why you should be pleased with yourself? مِنْ أَيْنَ يُعْجِبُ بِهِ. How can you be admiring yourself? Shaitan again will be disappointed. Because shaitan cannot say, لَيْسَ هَذَا مِنَ اللَّهِ. Shaitan cannot say, no, this is not from Allah, this is from you. لأن المعرفة والإيمان يدفعه. You have iman, you have understanding, and you can protect yourself against shaitan. فهذا نوع من الوسوسة ينقطع بالكلية. This is another type of temptation that can completely stop عن العارفين المستبصرين بنور الإيمان والمعرفة. So, two temptations, but both of them are still from the first type. One temptation was encouraging to just enjoy. You have long life. You cannot all your life be, muttaqi, enjoy yourself. Or you are, mashallah, such a good person. Don't, underestimate yourself. You have such a great position with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of your knowledge, because of your amal. With ma'rifah and iman, you can block shaitan with respect to these two. There are other types that inshallah we will discuss inshallah next week. Yes.
As you said that ujub is very, very dangerous.
Yes.
By the same time,
Man dakhalahu al-ujb halaka. Hadith says whoever ujb gets into him, he's destroyed.
but on the other hand, if a person tries to do his or her best and does some good acts, but at the same time keep blaming himself or herself for no reason, can that be equally
Yes.
just like ujub as well?
Yes.
So we have to keep a balance on it.
If you also become too much critical of yourself, that is also bad. But it's not as bad as ujb.
Okay. So if we have a choice,
Ujb is the worst. But that is also bad, that you always, underestimate yourself. That is also bad.
Don't you have for the third temptation maybe sometime to finish it?
If you are not tired, we can do one more.
yeah,
We can do one more. Thank you for being interested. Yes.
What
Bejade Sayyid Mohsen.
obsession?
Pardon?
What about the obsession? Some people, for example, doing wudu and they are saying, no, this is not tahar.
That's another type.
This is different.
This is different, yes.
Because
Okay.
we call it waswās.
Yes. So, two types of the first category. As-sinfu thani, the second category. أن يكون وسواسه بتحريك الشهوة. Pardon?
This is number 3.
Yeah, but the first had two types.
This is basically number 2.
This is the second type. Okay? So, we said two things, but both of them were something that it was about ma'rifah and iman, and you could stop it with having good ma'rifah and iman. Now, the second category, أن يكون وسواسه بتحريك الشهوة وتهييجها. This type of temptation is not that much related to your aqaid and that type of things. Is by exciting and triggering and stimulating your shahawat. وهذا ينقسم إلى ما يعرف العبد يقينا أنه معصية. This has different types. Sometimes shaitan excites you, stimulates you to do something that you know certainly this is haram. Okay? Doing something that you know it's haram. وَإِلَى مَا يَظُنُّهُ بِغَالِبِ الظَّنِّ. Sometimes you are not 100% sure, but you know that it's very likely. غَالِبِ الظَّنِّ means 80%, 70%, 90%, you know that this is haram. فَإِنْ عَلِمَ يَقِينًا خنس الشيطان عن تهييج يؤثر في التحريك ولم يخنس عن التهييج. Very psychological. He says, if the servant of Allah knows certainly that this is haram, shaitan would not move him towards the bad action, but still would try to stimulate him. Tahyij and tahrik. Tahrik is to excite you and stimulate you. Tahrik means to move you towards sin. Shaitan knows that you are not doing this action haram, but would still try to stimulate you. وَإِنْ كَانَ مَظْنُونًا بِمَا يَبْقَى مُؤَثِّرًا بحيث يحتاج إلى مجاهدة في دفعه فتكون الوسوسة موجودة ولكنها مدفوعة غير غالبة. If it is not certain, and even if you are 10% in doubt that maybe this is not haram, maybe, for example, this music 10% is halal. If you know 100% is haram, you don't, listen to it. Although shaitan may try to excite you about it, but shaitan knows that you are not going to do haram, but tries to excite you. But if there is 10%, 20% likelihood in your mind that it may not be haram, then that's where shaitan becomes motivated to try to push you and move you towards that action. Therefore, it's very important to increase our knowledge. If something is haram, we should know it for certain. Yeah? Because sometimes this is a game of shaitan. When something in reality is haram, okay, whether you know it or not, it doesn't make difference. But shaitan says, you don't know it is haram. Maybe it's okay. But you have to say, shaitan, I am not sure it is halal. When I am not sure it is halal, I cannot do it. I have no excuse to say, I didn't know. I should have known. This is a very dangerous game of shaitan that tries to use your ignorance as a kind of protection. Who said it is haram? Maybe it is not haram. Are you sure it's haram? So you have to answer, I am not sure it is halal. And if even 1 in 1,000 there is a chance that it is haram, I have no excuse, because I should have learned my mas'ala. Yeah? So, if the temptation is by stimulating, then it may continue, but if it is by moving, it may stop if you have certainty. If you don't have certainty, it may continue. Inshallah, we continue next week. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.